What's up everyone, it's Karthik with MoneyVest. Welcome on board for our market open live stream on this Wednesday as we are ready to close out the entire month. June has been very volatile, of course, for the entire market. If the audio and the video is good, just give me a thumbs up. Just want to make sure there are no technical issues as we start our live stream here. And markets, of course, reaching for a brand new all-time high. QQQ closed at an all-time high yesterday. It's now pre-market up another 44 basis points. You can see $542. We got S&P 500. So SPY is also higher, 22 basis points right now pre-market. Very close to an all-time high. And then, of course, you've got NVDA reaching for the 149, 150 levels here, up another 1%, trading back over $149. And of course, SoFi, we've got SoFi here up over 1.2, breaching the $16 level. I'm going to have to roll the calls on SoFi today. Today is the day I roll my SoFi calls. I sold them last week for $16 strike, and here we are at $16 today. So we'll be rolling out those strikes, and I'm also planning on TSLL puts here. It had a pretty brutal sell-off yesterday, down over 5.3% on the back of Tesla selling off over 2.3%. So I am considering TSLL puts. And of course, HIMS puts I already do have right now at $40 strike, which also do expire this Friday. So we'll see how they trade. They're up quite a bit. I closed out my SOXL puts for 81% profit yesterday. Again, it's been moving up really well. It was up almost 11% yesterday, up another 2.3%, trading well over $24 per share. SOXL has been a phenomenal trade for us, given how well it's performed. And from its lows of $7, it is now officially up over 240%. So hope you all are doing great on this Wednesday morning. Jerome Powell's talking in about an hour. So once again, he's going to be giving the testimony this time in front of the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee. And that's going to start in about an hour. So Wednesday, June 25th at 10 a.m., Jerome Powell's couple hours of testimony begins. The semi-annual monetary policy report to the Congress is going to start. So hope you all are doing great. There is both Iran and Israel are claiming victory over the ceasefire and over the war. So a fragile ceasefire appears to hold between Israel and Iran. An initial American intelligence report found the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear targets did not completely destroy the facilities. Again, we're back for more for Jerome Powell today for a couple hours. And NVIDIA seems to be looking into getting into the cloud business moving forward, which is one of the reasons why the stock is rallying quite a bit pre-market. As you can see, this right here is the nice little spike getting back up to over $149. This right here, of course, is my portfolio right now. We're going to be watching this live. I'm going to be trading live. I'm going to be sending out alerts in our Discord if there is anything that I actually do. Most likely going to be rolling out SoFi calls. We'll most likely be starting new TSLL puts. And we'll see what else I can do. BITX puts are most likely going to be higher. They do expire this Friday. HIMS puts expire this Friday. So those two trades are going to be closed very soon. NVIDIA calls I did roll out to 152. I'll see if I need to manage them even more. NVIDIA is very close to 152, of course. First, it needs to take out 150, and then I'll see what I need to do. And then, of course, I've got the Tesla shares and the Tesla calls. I've got 340 and 300. Tesla right now is just between those levels. At the moment, Tesla is trading as high as 343, so slightly higher above 340. And I definitely need to roll out my 300, but that's a little bit too far out. Jensen Huang also did mention that Tesla is dealing with a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. And this was not robotaxis. This was Optimus. Jensen Huang actually puts more weight on Optimus than he does on robotaxis and autonomous driving. So yeah, I mean, Tesla, in my opinion, is one of the only companies that is actually doing real data, real work in physical AI, physical artificial intelligence with robots and autonomous vehicles. So we'll see how far this thing can run. Now, yes, Advanced Micro Devices has been crushing it. And by crushing it, I mean like Advanced Money Doubler Dominator is back. It is now officially up over 84% from its lows of $76, $77 from back on April 7th. Pre-market up another 1.8%, taking out 140, 141. So absolutely incredible momentum coming in for AMD, although it is getting up to those overbought conditions and stretched to the upside, which many stocks are right now. But nonetheless, it is doing incredibly well. So congratulations to everyone. So I'm going to get to some comments. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, just let me know. And do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe, and share this live stream with other people, other investors, traders who may want to join. Again, if you have any questions, more than happy to discuss everything here. Markets are back at optimistic levels at 3.7. And of course, I'll talk over my portfolio if I am making any trades as well. So let's see. When you say puts, do you mean sell puts? Yes. So that is what I primarily am doing. I'm mostly selling puts and selling calls. I did, mention some other more advanced strategies like iron condors and credit spreads and poor man covered calls. Like all those are going to be implemented over time, just in the right circumstances. It doesn't hurt to have a lot of strategies up your sleeves. There's a market for everything. And right now we're in a very high volatility environment. And as a result, covered calls and cash secured puts actually do a lot better than iron condors, for example, which is a low volatility strategy. So I did a tutorial today, in fact, on iron condors. It's like a 30-minute tutorial in options trading. But that's, again, like I said, a little bit more advanced strategy. However, only applicable to a certain market environment. Right now, not really. So, yes, sell puts is what I mean for the most part. Netflix has been on fire. Ray says, thoughts on a pullback, anyone? So, yes, it is overbought. I would be careful with Netflix as well, considering how high it's rallied up to. And there's been a negative divergence playing through. And even on a weekly time frame, as you can see, the R side over 72. We've been talking about this in our daily market updates for Netflix and how well. I mean, just take a look at this stock here on a monthly time frame. This right here is what consistency looks like, right? From June, July of 2022, from 160 to 1200. That's a 700% increase for Netflix. So that is an insane growth in a very short period of time. That's just 3 years, exactly 3 years. And Netflix is up 700%. And just take a look at this. I mean, this literally looks like a check mark, like one big check mark. Boom, right there. And yes, we are at an all-time high. So congratulations to all Netflix traders, investors, shareholders. I mean, this has been an RSI recovery that we don't see very often, 83, 84. So it's now getting ripe for a bit of a pullback as well. But on a weekly time frame, I mean, you can clearly see the consistency and the uptrend for Netflix. So even if it does roll over just a little bit, it's still going to be in the context of this uptrend, unless, of course, it takes out $828. So on a weekly time frame, these are the levels that I'd be watching for a pullback or any kind of correction or a more brutal sell-off. But that would be, again, within the context of this uptrend. So how far to ride advanced micro devices? So AMD, coming over to AMD here. The good thing is that AMD is now starting to break outside of the downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. I mean, this right here was the downtrend. Lower highs, you can clearly see that it was struggling to break above those levels. But it's now starting to finally creep up above this lower high. And so the next target I would put down on AMD is going to be closer to 170. That would be an area where we have previously gotten rejected a couple times already. So that's going to be right about here. And that is also going to be right about there. So that would be the next target. But I don't expect a straight line up for AMD. Given how much it's already higher and how overbought it is, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a pullback before making the next leg up to 168 to 170 bucks for AMD. So that would be the next target on this stock. Okay, let's see. In your opinion, portfolio where you, Amir, I don't really understand. In your opinion, portfolio where you mostly do the wheel strategy, how do you handle or monitor the wash sale rule for taxes? So great question, Sin. Again, it's gonna be specific to your situation, but if I am taking a loss, I make sure that I don't trade that stock for at least 30 days to avoid any wash sales. But I don't really have to worry too much about taxes in general because, again, I am in Dubai and there is no capital gains tax or taxes on any trading activities. So for me, it's a little bit less of a hassle to worry too much. But even if I was a little bit more concerned, I would make sure that I'm not trading anything or investing in the same stock if I'm taking a loss on it. I avoid it for the next 30 days. So that is one way to make sure that you don't get into it. So, but yeah, other than that, just managing the portfolio, monitoring all the positions, taking advantage of the opportunities in the market. And the thing is that you don't have to go up the risk curve to make good money. You can make good money while minimizing your risk and also doing it in a very disciplined fashion. That's the entire idea behind managing a portfolio of your own, right? You want to do it in a very disciplined way, right? So our performance is not judged purely based on the return, but I judge my own performance based on risk-adjusted return, right? Meaning how much risk am I actually taking to achieve that return? And if my risk-adjusted performance is not great, then yes, my performance was not great. So it's not just purely looking at the return and being like, okay, my portfolio is up 20%, S&P is up 10%, so I beat the S&P, so that's good. Sure, on a pure return basis, that was outperformance, but our job is to beat the S&P on a risk-adjusted basis, and that you can look at it from a Sharpe ratio perspective, you can look at it from a perspective of beta, which is a measure of volatility, and then you can also look at the risk-adjusted alpha, which also takes into account beta as well as the risk-free return in the market. I showed that in my yesterday's market update for the long-term portfolio over the last 3 years and the annualized returns and the risk-adjusted beta and the alpha and everything. So all of that, super important. I think that's one of the lessons I learned from Howard Marks in his book. The most important thing is, just don't go off of the flashy returns. You got to peel the layers and understand how much risk you're really taking to achieve that level of return. Because if you are taking an insane amount of risk to achieve slightly better returns against the S&P 500, then it's really not worth it, right? Is it really worth it? Not really. So that's why our analysis is always based off of risk and reward. Risk comes first, reward comes after. Okay, let's see. Nice to see you doing pre-market. Thank you for all the info you shared. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining. I appreciate it. Today, NVIDIA and Tesla calls or puts. So I am going to be looking at TSLL puts. Most likely, we'll be selling those. And I've got NVIDIA calls, which I will consider rolling out if I need to, if NVIDIA breaks above 152. I already rolled them out, so I'm not planning on doing that anymore. At least not right now. But I am planning on rolling out the SoFi calls because that strike's going to get breached right now. It's already beyond my level of $16. So it's off by 3 cents. We'll see. I mean, Friday, 3 days of trading left, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It could still be a close call, but unless SoFi absolutely rips through 1650 today, I might still hold off to see how it trades. So yeah, haven't decided yet, maybe today or tomorrow, but we'll keep you guys updated. Okay, what's your take on Enphase? My average is sadly $80. Should I double down at these levels? Will there be any sun on Enphase? Enphase is a tricky one. A lot of fundamental deterioration for the company. The stock obviously has not been performing well at all since 2022. I mean, their revenues and profits and earnings and cash flows and everything got pretty much cut in half, and a series of poor earnings with misses across the board. Lack of penetration in the Europe market is why the stock price is just struggling at the moment. So I wouldn't double down at these levels. It would just be doubling down on a loser. And you wanna actually focus on doubling down on a winner as opposed to trying to minimize your losses by doubling down into something that's already losing your money. So it is gonna be a story to evaluate over the next couple of quarters. See how Enphase comes out with those earnings. If there's any progress in the overall revenues and the earnings and the margins. I mean, it has been climbing back up, but then first quarter 25 again, part of seasonality, but we're seeing a little bit of a dip in margins again. So I guess investors have to really face the truth that this is the new normal for Enphase, where we're not going to be able to get up to over 300, 400, beyond the 300, $400 million revenue number per quarter. There was a time when Enphase used to do $700, $800 million per quarter, but those days are long gone. So, Amir, what do you think about 0DTE trades on SPX and NASDAQ? I'd be very careful. I would be very careful with 0 days till expiration options because they can be incredibly volatile, as I'm sure you know. Position sizing, risk management, some of the most important things if you are going to be trading 0 days till expiration options. So, okay. YouTube is struggling this morning, Jeremy says, so hopefully it is working well. Hopefully there's no issues with audios and the video. Please keep us in the loop for SoFi. Yes, I will be sending out all the alerts in Discord as I normally do. If I do end up rolling out my SoFi calls, again, I'm planning on some new trades on TSLL. And the whole idea behind this portfolio really is to show you that it is possible to grow an account simply by trading options and by actually trading shares and investing in good, high-quality companies. And my goal for the long term really is to get this portfolio to keep growing and eventually to be trading options with, at least $1 million. Like that would be the best scenario, is to be able to trade weekly options, monthly options. And as the portfolio grows, I'm going to have to diversify a little bit more. Vertical, horizontal diversification, whether I'm trading the same tickers, going out different expirations, different strikes to layer them out, not really going for one single contract. Because, the bigger your sizes are, the more you have to start calculating the percentage of liquidity as part of your open interest calculation as well. So, for example, if there's 1,000 contracts in open interest for a specific strike that you're looking at or expiration, and if you are planning on trading 100 contracts, then that's 10% of the overall open interest. And so that's a pretty big size. And if you are planning on exiting that position in the future, then you got to make sure there's liquidity for it. And if I'm trading TQQQ or if I'm trading SOXL, as I am sizing up 30, 40, 50, 60 contracts, those are some things that we have to be mindful of. As we grow the portfolio. That's why, options trading is a high success, high probability strategy, but it's also not scalable at an institutional level, right? But why? Because liquidity is a big issue, right? If you've got a hedge fund with $1 billion, you can't just sell puts worth $1 billion. There might not be liquidity for it. So that's why there's different strategies that you need to employ as the portfolio gets bigger. So, yeah, so those are some things to always keep in mind. Okay, let's see. That's why sometimes people say like, oh, I beat Warren Buffett, or I beat like this hedge fund or that hedge fund. Like, my returns are much better. Yes, because it's a smaller scale versus managing a lot of money is significantly more difficult than managing a lot less. So, it's all about scalability of a strategy. And very, very important as well. Okay, let's see. We got almost 300 people watching. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to go over those. Let's see. We have not heard from this
case didn't go to the Supreme Court. We don't know if the whole process is right.
And whether or not the emergency powers are valid that the president is using to impose these tariffs, that is also going to
piss me off. What happens if countries believe that the Supreme Court is still a branch of the government?
Right. And actually could say, no, it's not constitutional.
Yeah. But then do we have an Andrew Jackson moment where he says,
I don't
hey,
know.
Listen, guys, I love you, but go with the robes, go back to Britain or something. I think that a level of certainty is again, another track. We have NVDA, then we have General Mills. General Mills used to be a great company with solid growth, but it has got a guy at the Secretary of Human Health Services.
Yes.
Who doesn't die in food.
No.
Do you know what food really looks like? Do you?
Soylent Green, what does it look like?
No, Soylent Green is actually...
It's not food.
Go ahead, do your average Robinson invitation. But food looks awful.
It's people.
Food looks like people.
That was Charlton Heston, actually.
The Donner Party, it's a cookbook. No, I mean, look, I just say that when you look at that was...
I don't even know why I put Jim Cramer, CNBC on sometimes. Like, I don't know what they talk about sometimes. All right, so BITX buy today for dividend on Friday. So Temple, I'd be careful with that, primarily because there's usually after these big dividend payouts or dividend X dates, the stock does drop for some of the high dividend payers. Last year, they actually had June 25th as the X date. So, and then of course, payment date was June 26th. So be mindful of that. Of course, already stocks up over 3.6% on the back of Bitcoin, which is now pushing past over 107,000 again. But this is the lower high and lower low for Bitcoin, which, you could also consider this as a potential bull flag formation, given that it's trading in a very specific range over here after a very nice rally that we've seen for Bitcoin. So this could lead into a potential breakout from this bull flag as well, beyond the $111,000, which is one of the reasons why I'm also considering adding into BITX a little bit, just having a bigger position size into this ETF, but it's also risky. So since it's levered and it's Bitcoin, lots of risk warnings for this because of the volatility that it has, and of course the uncertainty around the future of Bitcoin. So this is for me purely a trade. Albeit it's a bit of a medium to longer term trade. It's unlike anything else in terms of leveraged ETFs that I usually trade, like SOXL, TQQQ. I'd be in and out within a few weeks or maybe a month or 2 months. This one I plan on holding for a little bit longer on the back of Bitcoin as an underlying asset if you do get that breakout. So same pattern. If you do get a breakout on BITX, next target is going to be $64, $65. So that's going to be this level there. All the way up to, of course, the all-time high of $70, $71 for BITX. Do you think TSMC is going to keep running? So TSMC I really, really like. I think there's a lot of semiconductor stocks that I love, but TSMC is, of course, one of them. Getting up to all-time highs, very close to it. And 225 is going to be that resistance. So support level now sitting roughly at around 187. And yeah, semis have been doing really well. I mean, semis recovery has been so strong. In fact, SMH hit a new all-time high. Actually, very close to an all-time high. Take that back. So not exactly at all-time highs, but look at that recovery for SMH, up over 60% from its lows on April 7th, right? So all semiconductor stocks have done incredibly well. Maybe not Intel. So maybe not all, but most of them have done very well. ANET also has struggled a little bit. ASML up over 4% yesterday, moving higher even more today. And of course, Broadcom also hitting a brand new all-time high, up another 1% at $266. So it's done incredibly well. Okay. Do you trade UVIX? How do you deal with it? So I don't trade any volatility products per se. So I don't trade UVIX or SVIX or any of those other volatility ETPs. I try to stay away from that because it's a little bit more of a complicated trade. So it's not in my wheelhouse, so I stay away from it. How do you hedge against the weakening dollar? Well, it's a good question. There isn't, if you are going to be investing in US dollar, you are kind of betting on the US dollar appreciation long term as well. If the debt situation worsens, if there's going to be increased deficits, then yes, there's always that risk that the US dollar is going to lose value over time against other currencies. One currency that I really want to hold more of is the Swiss francs. Swiss francs over US dollar, it has done incredibly well. I mean, if you come over to Swiss francs, US dollar, it has been one of the best performing currencies in a really long time. If you go back to the 1990s all the way till where it is now, which is almost at an all-time high, 125% appreciation against the US dollar. So, Swiss francs is one of those few currencies that are safe havens that I really want to own more of. It's something that I would like to have as part of a currency hedge long term. So, and then of course I've got allocations in real gold as well, something that acting as a bit of a hedge and some capital preservation for the long term. Okay, Amir, when do you personally think we would have a rate cut? Just to guess, of course, I do think that rate cut possibility is going to be more in 2026 than in 2025. I know the Federal Reserve kept interest rate expectations unchanged for this year. They're still expecting 2 rate cuts and bringing them down to 3.9%. But given inflation, which is now creeping up again, and given the fact that unemployment is also expected to somewhat increase, I do believe that interest rate cuts are a little bit more optimistic for this year. I think 1 rate cut or 0 rate cut is a higher probability outcome for this year as opposed to 2 or more. So again, it's just a guess. I think the Federal Reserve cutting 4 times last year was already a little too much, starting off at 50 and then doing another 25 and 25. We already got a full 1 percentage point cut. So, this year with the Trump tariffs, with inflation still uncertain, there is a possibility that we may not see as many as 2. We may still see 1 or nothing, but 2 and more for me seems a bit of an overkill, at least for right now. But again, we could be wrong. So for the 51% off promo Discord rate, would we keep that rate forever? So that's a forever rate, Mark. If you do plan on joining, that's going to be a rate forever. I actually did create a brand new tier today because I know there's a lot of interest in options trading. I know that a lot of people want to learn options trading. So that course is now also included with a new tier. There's going to be 21 tutorials. So if you come down here, this is the entire course curriculum for the options trading. And all of this is included as a monthly subscription if you're interested in that one. So it's going to give you the introduction to options, all the basics, reading the options chain, selling puts, selling calls, iron condors, credit spreads, straddles, protective collars, zero cost collars, leaps, all the strategies, all the 8 strategies that I go over. Then it also goes over all options Greeks, delta, theta, gamma, vega, as well as the sweet spot of finding deltas and good return on collateral, and of course proper risk management and complete recaps also included. So these are all video tutorials, 21 plus of them, plus the 44-point checklist. It's a PDF document and all my spreadsheets also included. Brand new tier if you want to get access to this. And of course you can save 30% with the annual discount as well. And that's a rate that's locked in pretty much for the lifetime. You should switch to the Schwab network. Yes, I think that one has Bloomberg on it, on the Schwab network, if I'm not mistaken. Bloomberg, or I think Bloomberg might be Interactive Brokers. Schwab network I haven't really seen, I think, in a long time. Locke says, are you planning to add another Rolex to your collection? Soon. I'm planning for the end of this year. I usually go with November, December as a time to buy another watch. I usually allocate 1 watch per year, depending on how good or bad the year has been. That decides which watch I get. I'm eyeing a specific piece this year, so we'll see. Fingers crossed how well the year closes out. So far into the 6 months, the portfolio is doing well, knock on wood. So we'll continue to be proper risk managers in this market and to make sure that we're not overexposing ourselves. We're disciplined. We're taking very calculated bets. And so November, December, as we're kind of coming closer to wrapping up the year, I'll see what I want to add to the collection. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with that if anybody's interested. I usually do post that stuff more on my Instagram, not on, of course, YouTube or anything else. So Johnny, can you please explain Interactive Brokers' value? It's massively down because on your based on your shopping list, just messaged in the Discord before I realized you were live. Yes, so Interactive Brokers I feel like is a more institutional brokerage. It is consolidating sideways, so it's not really down massively. I mean, it has recovered very well since April 7th. It's up like more than 59, almost 60%. And, I would consider this as an area of accumulation for Interactive Brokers. So you can see a lot of consolidation here, struggling to break above this resistance of 52.53. Again, that's the area within which it's trading. And similar to what we're seeing for Bitcoin, not that there's any correlation with Interactive Brokers, but you can clearly see, right, there's a potential bull flag formation here for Interactive Brokers. So if you do get a breakout above $52, $53, then the next resistance is pretty much the all-time high as high as $58, $59 for Interactive Brokers. So yes, it's part of my shopping list. I think it's one of the most well-run, profitable brokerage platforms out there. You can see quarter over quarter, very consistent revenues, profitability is there. Valuation is not that bad. It's not that bad, right? So 27, 28 times earnings is what we're looking at. Price to sales at 2.3, and yes, it is part of the shopping list in the MoneyVest platform. Oh, Kevin, thank you so much. Sent 5 MoneyVest gifts memberships. That's incredible. Received a gifted membership. Kevin, always doing great work. Absolutely crushing it in our Discord. Sharing absolutely banger ideas in the Discord on the markets, and of course a lot of individual stocks and trades. So I appreciate you a lot, and thanks on behalf of all the members that you gifted all these memberships. That's great. So yes, good morning everyone. We got 4 more minutes until the market opens. Just a quick check on where we are. NVIDIA closing in on 150. So we're very close to 150 here. Tesla 343. So a little bit of a bounce higher after the yesterday's sell-off. We got QQQs hitting a brand new all-time high. All-time high, folks. Here we are at a brand new all-time high. S&P 500, very close to an all-time high. So we're about 21 basis points higher. We're less than 1% away from all-time highs. Today could be the day if S&P takes out over 613, 614, we'd be at an all-time high for S&P. And of course, QQQs are up over 44 basis points as well. MoneyVest Index already in optimism, and we'll track the portfolio. We'll see how it does. SoFi calls need to be rolled out. TSLL puts is something I'm considering for today. And we'll see if I need to close out my HIMS puts and BITX puts. They're both expiring for this Friday. So Vault, yes, I know you sold CSPs on HIMS. Do you think that HIMS will not have revenue problems because of parting ways with Novo Nordisk? I think they will. We just have to analyze like to what extent is this hit going to be, like what is going to be that percentage hit on the top line revenue. But I don't actually mind owning HIMS at $40. I think that would be a reasonable level. And I've also been looking at, the degen side of me has been looking at HIMZ. That's your 2x long HIMS ETF. Again, massive risk warning. If you can see like a red bar somewhere over here, just imagine it. But this is like incredibly volatile. I mean, the day HIMS dropped over 30%, this ETF was down over 68%. 68%. It literally went from a $50 close to the next day closing at $15. So it dropped by $34, almost $35 in one single day. That's how volatile these leveraged ETFs can be. Just always remember that. So yeah, $35 drop, 69%. Obviously, it popped over 3% yesterday, but something that I am looking into. Not planning on trading right now, but something that I'm definitely considering. And even if I do trade this, I may not alert because, again, just given how risky this can be, I really don't want anyone to follow on these riskier trades. I really want you to do your own analysis and research before trading these riskier leveraged ETFs. That's why it becomes a bit of a challenge sometimes. But UNH keeping his degen moments to himself. I really have to because, oftentimes it's like, okay, that this is all education. Yes, it's all informational, and we're here to educate each other, learn from each other. But there are going to be people, there are going to be members who just follow exactly what you're doing, and you don't want that. So you have to be very careful with the decisions you make, and sometimes if you do see an opportunity which is very high risk, you have to make a decision. Do you really want to share it? Do you want to keep it to yourself? Because that's the challenge. You don't want to, because everyone's got a different risk tolerance. Right? For some people, they don't want to take on any risk. For some people, it's 10 out of 10 risk. Just only give me risky opportunities. So it's always going to be different. And it's always difficult to evaluate for the other person. So you're best evaluating it for yourself and taking trades that are within your risk profile. So better share that. I have itchy fingers. Oh man, I have very itchy fingers right now these days. So I don't even trust myself, let alone someone else trusting me. So it's too much pressure. Anyway, markets are open. So we're gonna see how stocks are doing here. And let's just take a look very quickly. So we are moving higher. So let me just come back. NVIDIA 149, almost at 150 right now. So we've got Tesla 342. QQQ is hitting a brand new all-time high at over $542. So NASDAQ opening higher by 0.5%. And we got the S&P 500 also pushing up here over 21 basis points right now. Okay, let me see if I need to do anything. Definitely would need to consider SoFi. SoFi is trading where? Please be below 16. 16.14 is where we're at for SoFi right now. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so SoFi calls are certainly in the money. I'm going to see if I can roll them out a little bit. Let's see if I go out to 17. Yep. Palantir also moving up.
Shares celebrating launch of its global humanoid and embodied intelligence index ETF. Oh boy, there we go.
Wow.
They got the robot ETF.
There you go.
It's just about getting capital flows.
Stanford's got those in the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the robots, they can clean a bed.
It's kind of funny. We had a Brazilian company while we were talking about Kraft Heinz, given, of course, you remember, I mean, that's, 3G and
3G was something, huh?
And
they had all sorts of systems that were going to work.
Yeah.
In the end, the dogs wouldn't eat it. When you write new and improved on dog food, what's like the dog look at it and say, that's what I'm looking for?
In the end, the dogs wouldn't eat it. But again, just to finish that conversation on Kraft Heinz, neutral is now the rating at Goldman Sachs.
Look at the win. He took a win.
Yeah.
His stock was down big during this period. But, David, here we go. It's Coinbase. It's Vistra.
Yes.
It's GE Vernova.
Yes.
It's Palantir. It's AMD. It's CrowdStrike. It's Netflix. And it's Amazon. Done your way.
Done. We're done.
Your way.
We can end the show. Thank you.
I mean, that's it.
Perfect.
Netflix.
What would you
By
like?
the way, David, Bear starts tonight.
Really? The Bears coming back?
Yeah,
But
Bears coming back.
Wait, on what? That's Hulu. That's not Netflix.
It's not with us anymore. No. We're Brasham.
First of all, Bear is a Hulu show. So you mentioned it, and they were talking about Netflix.
Oh my God.
So what am I missing?
Trump says that he calls us all the time. Brian Roberts, right? He's controller of the. No, I just mentioned a show that's on Hulu.
Yes,
we don't own Hulu anymore.
All right.
By the way, I still think Disney's
you were talking about Netflix, the shares of which are up 45% this year, $550 billion market value.
They turned out to have, if you want to reach people, they can get anybody.
No, they, as we said many times, they won, and it was just everybody else is playing for second. And we've made that point over and over again. And by the way, the stock's been up a lot since we started saying that.
Yeah, you've been looking at GE Vernova. When you read these stories about me in data centers, it's on GE Vernova. I mean, it turned out to be Larry Culp's best card in that amalgam. GE Healthcare being awful.
Yeah, I don't think people had it on their scorecard that it would be up 185% in a year of being public.
Remember, it couldn't get a credit rating?
Yeah, I mean, remember when they did, what was it, the Alstom deal, right?
You called it a turbine and it's a turbine. I remember
my first interview with Larry Culp when that was the problem child and he didn't have answers at that point.
That interview was so good.
He found a lot of answers.
Yeah, he sure did.
Really
Larry
did.
Culp is an unsung hero. People don't care.
Well, we've been singing a lot about him.
We have?
Yeah, we have.
In a key of what?
We have. I mean, there's aerospace. That's what he's running now. You had Vernova, of course. You also had medical. I haven't looked at GE Medical as well, but that's...
GE Healthcare, no.
You add them all up together,
because
and
it's
if you held the stock, you're okay. I mean, you're not back at where you were in 2000, I don't think, but...
No.
You're a lot better than you were in 2009.
It's funny you say that because it looks like it had the greatest move ever, but the fact is because it did go down.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I'm glad you mentioned
during that period again that we were discussing earlier. GE was right. It was along with Cisco, maybe Microsoft at the time.
Cisco,
the largest market cap. in the world, and the only name that still has that is close to it is Microsoft.
Cisco, 268 billion now.
Yeah,
I think he can go to 400. I really like what Chuck's doing. I'm going to talk about it today on my
as we take a look
on my conference call.
Yeah. By the way, all right, you were talking Netflix. Let me just share a little bit on Warner Brothers Discovery, which of course is the other side of that.
Is this about the closing of Porterhouse in Zaslav?
It is not the closing of a steakhouse that David Zaslav likes to, and you like to go to. Well, you and I have had dinner there a few times.
Yes, and you and I are going to
All right, everyone. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do with SoFi since it's now breached the $16 strike call. Tesla, I'm mostly going to be selling puts at TSLO. It is difficult to stream and to trade at the same time. But Jerome Powell is going to be talking in about 25 minutes. I don't know if I want to be live for that. Again, it's the same story all over again. We're not going to get much information from him. But yes, NVIDIA 150, touching 150 on the high today. 150.50 is where it was. Tesla here giving back on those gains from pre-market down over 1.2%. HIMS is on the move. It's up another 7% today, so pushing up really well. The puts that I have on HIMS are up over, let me just double check here. So they're up 40% right now. So there's only 40% higher, which is a lot less than I had expected, because since they're expiring July 3rd. That's what I thought. They're not for this Friday. They're for July 3rd. The BITX puts are for this Friday. Those are up 29%. So I was a little bit confused between those two. Okay, so I'm going to end the live stream here. I'm going to send out some alerts in the Discord. There's a lot happening. NVIDIA breaching 150, which is very nice to see. Tesla, got to make some moves on that. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. Really appreciate you all. Again, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And links are going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. Like I said, I opened up a brand new tier if you're interested in joining. Just $34 a month. You get access to the options trading course. The entire course also available. And it's going to be limited to just a few people. So link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining us in our community. So happy investing. I will see you all in